And hello, my name is Martin, and today in this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I turned the sky into a nighttime sky and how we can do that so then that way we can get the playing area as dark as possible so then that way we can really see what our lights are doing in the for the next couple of projects. Okay, so what I'm going to do real quick is I'm actually going to add a few things in which should be there. And let's do one more thing. Okay, so for most of us, this is what we're going to see. This is what we have. There's also, I think, because we did the first person, there's a atmospheric fog that's also in there. Okay. So for us, we've seen a couple of these images, or a couple of these icons. Let me put them closer together and explain a couple of the things that we need to do in order to get rid of the night, or get rid of the day, go from daytime to nighttime, I should say. Oops. Click on this guy. Okay. So I can almost see all of them, and they're almost all in front of me. Okay, so we're basically going to be working with three elements. The first one is going to be the atmospheric. So if I click on that and I get close to it, it kind of looks like that little cloud. It has a cloud icon on it. If you need to look for it, you can go into your world outliner, type atmospheric or atmos or fog. So if I typed in, let's say, fog, you'd see that that would be the thing that would show up. So it's easy enough to find. For us, for right now, for this tutorial, what we're going to do is we're actually going to get rid of it because the fog is actually creating this circle that's up there at the top, which I guess if it's a foggy day and you're looking up, yeah, I guess there would be like a fog circle around the sun. There would be something around the object that is creating the light. That would be, the particles of the light, or the water vapor that would be there that would be catching the light from the angle that it's coming in at. So for us, for right now, what we're going to do is select that and we're going to hit delete. And we know that it's gone because we look up and we get a clear sky. Also, this kind of goes away a little bit. From there, the next thing is going to be this, which is the skylight instance. And basically what this guy does is it creates, to a certain extent, the shadows that we see that are on the floor. So, if we sit there and we move some of this stuff around, let's see if we can change the color. Notice that it's just the shadows. It's not the floor. It's not the ceiling. It's just adjusting for, the light that would be hitting that object. And so, if we had green lights, like let's say we were in a club and that the lights in the club right then were green, this thing would be green to show us what the white would look like in that color, what a slightly darker light would look like in that color. So for right now, we are also going to delete this. So when we delete that, we should have something like this. We should have what appears to be very sharp, very harsh lighting. And a lot of this is now coming from this thing that looks like a little sun with a light sticking out of it. So if we get it to where we can change its axis and we start moving it, we can actually see that this light creates the length of the shadows, where it feels like the light is coming from. So in this respect, we're kind of controlling like the sunset and the sunrise. All right. Now the only problem with this is that if we look up in the sun's actually up there at noon, and it feels like the light is coming from over there, but it's actually up here. So there is actually a way to connect the sun with that directional light. And the way that we do that is by clicking on the sphere in the sky, not on one of these lines, but in the sky itself. And if we scroll up to the top underneath default, you see where it says directional light actor, and right now we have none. Because we have a directional light on the floor, we can select that directional light, And what ends up happening is that the sun now mirrors the direction that this light is going in. So if I want it to be noon, I get the light of noon, and I get the shadows of noon. Now the only other thing that's happening is that I'm sort of getting this weird effect in the background, which I believe is happening because... Let's see what happens if I rebuild the lights real quick. Build lighting only. There we go. Okay, so as I move this down, and we get into what feels more like a sunset, and we build, we're going to get sunset colors. If I move up a little bit and we build, the lighting will change. You can see that the atmosphere is a little bit more pink, but it's starting to turn more blue, and the light is turning more of the color it's supposed to be. Now that is happening. There is a line. There is a button here that says that this follows the angle of the light. So based on where the angle of the light is, it changes the exterior colors of the outside world. Okay, there it is. So it's on the skylight. It's on the thing that's got the clouds in it. So you click on the sky the sky sphere, and you see underneath directional light there is colors determined by sun's position. So if I get rid of that, we kind of lose that effect. If we put it back in, we get that effect back. Now for there, the only other thing that I'm going to talk about, well, and for the examples that we're going to be doing later, we actually want to go ahead and get rid of this. So I'm going to go ahead and hit delete. It's telling me, hey, you know, are you sure you want to do this? It's connected to something else. I know I just connected it. So once that's gone, we get a pretty dark environment. The only thing is now that we need to, so the area that we'll be working in will be dark. The only thing is that we need to make the sky dark. So once again, we need to go and we need to click on the sky sphere. And underneath where we just were, where we saw color determined by sun's position, we have sun brightness. And then if we scroll down a little bit and override settings, we have sun height. If we take this and drop this all the way down, we should then get a black sky. So you would get something that would look very much like this. Now that is very dark. So if I push play now and I look up into the night sky, that's actually pretty accurate for Houston. We might have like 1 or 2 more stars, but really not that different. Like if we were out there on a moonless night, this would be pretty much what we would be seeing. So we're going to click on that again. I'm going to go down from default down to where it says star brightness. And I'm going to start bringing the star brightness up. Now you can get really crazy with this. We can make it to where, you know, you're like in the galactic core or somewhere, you know, on some really crazy planet. But no, let's like seriously take that back to something serious. So for me, that feels like too many stars, especially with this amount of light that's back there. I feel that that would be more accurate. Let's push play. That probably feels pretty good. Okay, so we saw what we've done, right? So we got rid of the atmospheric. We also got rid of the light direction, which was the this one right here, the one that said skylight. That actually dark between that and the directional light being taken out. So the directional light, the skylight, and the atmospheric, we got a very dark environment, sort of like if you've ever been out away from civilization, like out on a ranch or on somebody's property, and you see the night sky and you see how nice and bright it is, and it is very dark out there when there's no lights. So yeah, this is exactly what it would feel like you would be looking almost into pitch darkness. So that's pretty accurate. So removing the skylight, the directional light, the atmospheric, created this effect, then clicking on the sphere and bringing the sun height all the way down to the bottom, and then from there bringing the stars out a little bit depending on how much stars you want to actually see in the night sky. All right, so from there, that's actually the end of this tutorial. We'll keep this one short. I just wanted you to know how to create a dark environment, so then that way when we start adjusting and creating our lights in the next couple of tutorials, you will be in darkness. Okay. The only other thing that I'll say is that as we start working, we will be bouncing back and forth between this lit and unlit. And the unlit allows you to be able to see everything basically with like even lighting. And this will then allow you to be able to, like, you know, move objects in areas that would be relatively dark, that you would normally not be able to see the object that you're working in. So for us, we'll be jumping back and forth a lot between lit and unlit. But okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.